sleuth.
Killed while hiking, sending their final images on Snapchat. Police and the FBI tonight desperately searching for a man who may have seen them on the trail. Here's ABC's Alex Perez.
Tonight, Indiana authorities hunting for clues as they desperately try to solve the murders of 13-year-old Abigail Williams and 14-year-old Liberty German.
This one has a different feel to it, unlike anything we've had before.
The two friends dropped off at this nature trail near Delphi early Monday afternoon. Liberty Snapchatting this picture of Abigail on a railroad bridge. But when family returned to pick them up a few hours later, the girls were nowhere to be found. After a massive search, their bodies discovered a day later about 3/4 of a mile from that bridge. Investigators now zeroing in on that Snapchat picture and carefully combing through the girls' cell phone records.
Technology, I will just say in general, has been important with what we're doing right now.
Authorities releasing this image of a man they want to speak with. They believe he may have been at the trail at the same time.
He is a key and critical component to at least solving this case or advancing the investigation.
David, authorities have received hundreds of tips. They believe one clue could unravel the mystery of what happened on this trail. David?
Alex Perez with us tonight. Alex, thank you.
It's the first thing that my simple brain thinks of in the morning. It's the last thing I think of at night, and I know I represent everybody else that's dressed like me today. If you're watching, we're coming. If you're watching, we are coming. This county of Carroll and all that has happened here and all of the sadness associated with this county is unacceptable in a civilized society.
The unsolved deaths of two Delphi girls keeps their families and friends anxious and alert every single day, awaiting any good news. The 5-year investigation has involved 3 major developments police and the families were hoping would lead to an arrest. It begins with this, the video of the man that Libby German recorded on her cell phone back in February 2017 before her body and the body of her friend, Abby Williams, were found. Then there's that sketch you see there, which investigators expected would identify the killer. And then this past December, police asked the public to report any contact with the man using the name hashtag Anthony_shots on social media to lure young girls on Instagram and Snapchat. He has not been named as a suspect or even a person of interest.
Which is kind of strange. What is up, everybody? Welcome to another Sleuth Intuition Live. Guess it's safe to call it a true crime podcast, YouTube channel. Well, Easter Eve. I hope everybody's having a great day, great night. Everything's going well, and if it's not, hang in there. This is a YouTube channel where we kind of sharing the obsession on the whole true crime thing. You know, this channel is really focused in on the Delphi case. It's a very strange case. Double homicide. Small town in Indiana. 2 girls were murdered, apparently possibly catfished. Abby and Libby. I'm sure anybody that's tuning into my channel is fully aware, but if you're not, that's why we like to play those news clips and give a little background information. But today, what we're going to talk about is Brad Heath. There's a couple videos, some news clips where Brad has joined them. He took part in a ceremony. He kind of explains how he saw a few things out there. We're also going to segue from that into the apparent sketch artist of the Young sketch. If you guys remember, I made a video in regards to the Young sketch, and was a very ironic video. It was kind of a trolling video. I think people caught on to the fact that it was a trolling video, but they picked on the wrong, um, and they didn't really pick up on the real essence of the video. The point was we were using facts, and the facts that we were using were based off information provided by the family. But we all know now, with certain facts being revealed, that just because the family says it, or a relative or friend of the family says, hey, look, this is what was said, it can't be this because this is what they said. We know that that's just not true. As much as we support them, and much as we think that they should have all the information, that's just not the facts. Okay, so I'll just clear that up for anybody who was a little foggy on what was going on there. What's up, CD? Lil Pookie, Digital, SA. Hey, Vanessa, Joe, Muffin Top, Lisa, Vanessa. Hey, guys, all my members. Mandy, good to see you. Willow. Everybody, thanks for joining. We're going to try to make it an informational couple hours if we could. I think right now we're going to segue into a news clip where they talk about Brad Heath. They talk about some of the witnesses. And then we're going to go in specifically where Brad Heath, out of his own, right from the mouth, basically states, hey, I saw something, so I said something. And then we're going to talk about what that something was. Was it a car parked at the CPS building? Was it a hitchhiker near the CPS building? Was it somebody coming out near the cemetery? We're going to talk about all that, and hopefully we can find a consensus there. So let me pull this up real quick. I think this is a good place to start.
Police are hoping those 3 words will trigger the trip needed to find whoever murdered Abby Williams and Libby German. And tips have been flooding in over the last 24 hours.
In fact, those calls will now be handled by the FBI in Washington, D.C. They'll be listening for anything that could lead them to the killer. We've got David McAnally live for us in Delphi tonight at 5:30 with how else the investigation is changing over the last 24 hours. David?
Scott, we're seeing bigger tips. We're seeing more tips coming in, bigger reward fund in place, and also a trumpet call for prayer. Brad Heath brought all his breath to this bridge, sounding a sacred horn for prayer and healing in Delphi, while downtown at police headquarters, first images of the special call center where operators field tips around the clock. Almost 4,000 phone and emails so far, some generated by the suspect's photo released last week. But half the tips came in just the last 24 hours, since police released the Down the Hill audio. Audio of the suspect, police
That's a
say,
good point.
recorded by victim Libby
Those are
German
facts.
on her cell phone. Last night, folks from Delphi and around the area met in song and prayer and unity at the courthouse to remember Libby and her friend Abby Williams. Thanks to local donors, including folks like these, a bank, local businesses, the FBI, and more, state police say the reward is now $50,000. And nationwide, the FBI has posted messages about the case on 6,000 electronic billboards in 46 states. And tonight on the bridge across 25, Brad Heath blows the sacred shofar.
Specific directions from the Lord to come and pray over this bridge today. Well, the Bible says in Nehemiah, when you hear the sound of the trumpet, the Lord begins to fight for his people, and the people of Delphi need the Lord to fight for us in this time, this trying time.
Tonight on the Night Beat, we talk more with Brad about something else that drew him out to that bridge, something that happened to him on the day that those girls disappeared. Also, we just talked to Tony Slocum with Indiana State Police Public Information Officer, asked him why move the call center to Washington. Basically, it boils down to that kind of work is done all the time at that center, and while it was done very well and very smoothly here, they are set up to handle those kinds of things. But if you're calling in, you'll use the same number, same contacts, all of that, and you'll be dealt with in the same way. There might be a little bit of interactive phone. You might have to push a button or so to leave that tip, but apparently the system guides you through it very smoothly. We'll have more tonight on Night Beat. Back to you, Scott and Ann. Because he was working near the trail the day the girls died.
And had no idea I was not that far from it, so it's bothered me. Well, there's some things I passed along that I hope will help the investigation.
Things you witnessed?
Yes. You feel funny when you think that if I would have paid more attention to this or that, it has to be resolved. This is evil.
We ran into two other people who came to that bridge to pray. One of them, a man who drove 99 miles to get.
Yeah, we're going to have to listen to that again.
Trying for Brad because he was working near the trail the day the girls died.
And had no idea I was not that far from it, so it's bothered me. Well, there's some things I passed along that I hope will help the investigation.
Things you witnessed?
Yes. You feel funny when you think that if I would have paid more attention to this or that, it has to be resolved. This is evil.
We ran into two other people who came to that bridge to pray. One of them, a man who drove 99 miles to get.
So that's Brad Heath. People seem to think that he is the source of the Young sketch. So we're going to talk about that. So let's take a look here. Let me share my screen. Okay, so with those videos, we know Brad saw something. Question is, where did he see it? What did he see? So if we share this image here, Fort Wayne NBC writes in their Facebook, Brad Heath puts a flyer of the Delphi double murder suspect in all of the eBay packages that are sent across the country, complete with QR codes that show the video and audio of the man. Okay, notice he uses the Young sketch. That's the flyer he's sending. So if he saw this man, it would make sense that that's what he's sending. You know what I mean? And then also, Brad works for a company called Reliable Exterminators. They have a great reputation in Indiana. It's a small family-owned business. It's growing. They have, like I said, their reputation is impeccable. It's a generational small company. They won many awards. Brad retired from there. I looked up Reliable Exterminators, and they do. I didn't see anything in regards to mole extermination. I know we hear a lot about that exterminating moles and things like that in the cemetery. But they did have it listed as rodent. So it's very possible. So I wanted to kind of pull up a map using the information that we know about Brad Heath, and then we can kind of start building our theories from there. And there's a few reasons why. Okay, so Brad said he was working near the trails, and that's why he feels some kind of way, and he also saw something, and he needed to say something. Okay, so let me share my screen again. I have some maps up here I wanted to share. Okay, here we go. Okay, so if he's working near that area, we have to assume it was either here at the cemetery, all right, so either here at the cemetery, here somewhere on the Mears property, or at this location. Now, it's my understanding that it was the cemetery where he was located. Now, we're saying if he is the witness to the young bridge guy and he provided that sketch. Okay? So this is where he would be working, somewhere through here. Right? I mean, where else is there? Okay, now another strange fact is they said there was a vehicle parked here at the CPS welfare building from 12 to 5. Now, what if that was the information that Brad passed along? Okay. So anybody that had a job here in this area would have to take this route, whether they're coming this direction or going this direction. I think he was coming from Lafayette. I can't be 100% on that. But either way you come in, you got to take this route. Okay, so the red would be anybody taking the route and stopping at the CPS building. Now the yellow, that would be what Brad did if he happened to work here. Cemetery, Mears, or whatever this building is here. So you'd have to exit off the freeway. You would take a right up towards the Freedom Bridge, past the Freedom Bridge, go under the freeway, park at the CPS building, or continue on towards the cemetery. Okay, so now if Brad Heath was coming to work, let's say he showed up at 12. Okay, he would pass right by the CPS building. He would see a vehicle parked there at 12 noon, right? He proceeds on to the cemetery, and let's say he leaves at 5. All right, he's leaving the cemetery at 5 o'clock, passes by the cemetery, and there's the vehicle again. And that's the report to law enforcement. Hey, I saw a vehicle. It was parked at the CPS building. I know for a fact from 12 to 5. That's when I saw it. Digital says, Sleuth, why would they draw a sketch of what Anthony Schott's profile might have looked like when they had access to a real photo when Kelsey contacted him to see if he knew where Libby was? Well, she just contacted the fake Anthony Schatz. She just contacted what Libby was contacting. She didn't know who the real person was. She contacted Anthony Schatz just like she contacted whatever other friend happened to be maybe sending text messages at that time, or emails, or Instagram message. Who knows? Whoever was talking to Libby, Kelsey messaged back. She's doing her part. That's great work. Who would have even thought to do that? You know what I mean? You got to give her some credit for that. If nothing was wrong, she would have most likely been the first one to find Libby, to be honest. With the things that she was doing, she would have found Libby first. But unfortunately, there was a tragedy that was happening. So, what do you guys think about that? 12 to 5. Why? Why 12 to 5? Is that because somebody that was working nearby when they came in to work and then when they left? 12 to 5. That's just a strange. Who was giving that report? Nobody was at the trails from 12 to 5, right? That we know of. What's that got to do with anything? They knew about the catfish thing a week after the crime with the ski mask event. They knew that Anthony Schatz was involved after interviewing that family. So they knew a week and a few days after the crime that there was a catfish involved. What's that got to do with what we knew? We know now that that's the fact. We may not have known it then, but we definitely know it now, right? You know what I'm saying? What's up, Maureen? And anybody else I missed? Welcome. Okay, she probably contacted the killer maybe while he was in the search. When they checked data, put two and two together, the same device pinged at the CPS, maybe, who knows? Well, no, they know where Keegan's device was. It was on Country Club Road. But why? Why was he at Country Club Road killing time? What was he doing? He was waiting for the killers most likely to return from what they were doing. There's no way he stuck around till 5. Okay, let's get into some theories now. Okay. So they recorded a vehicle. Let's pull up the CPS here. CPS building right here. Okay. So there's a report that somebody's seen a vehicle parked here from 12 to 5. Okay. They never said that it was the killer's vehicle. They said they're interested in the driver of this vehicle. Okay. So if they don't consider this vehicle the vehicle used by the killer, why would anybody spotted near this area be considered the suspect? It's too far away from the crime scene. It would most likely just be an interest, a person of interest. Anything right here. Now, law enforcement stated specifically that the young guy sketch is in fact the guy we're looking for, who is responsible. So if he was spotted over here by the CPS building, they wouldn't be able to make that statement. They would say he's just a suspicious person, okay? Now, let's take a look at the cemetery. Okay, let's say Brad Heath is working here at the cemetery. The crimes take place somewhere in this general area, and the killer kind of walks back like he's going to go back towards the trails. He's not going back across that water. I don't think he had to in the first place. He doesn't want to do it again. And I don't think he's familiar with this natural bridge. He doesn't know that that's there, in my opinion. That was an old theory of mine as well, coming from Wilson Bridge, but I don't think so. Common sense says he parked at the CPS building, took the trails, crossed the bridge, tried to assault the girls down here. They most likely ran, and that's where he had, attacked them. They were probably trying to fight him. So if he committed the murders here, what he's going to do, and from what I understand, it's 3:30. Okay, 3:30 is when it was all over with. I used to think it was 3 o'clock, but now when I'm going through all the old media and they're kind of quoting law enforcement, it's 3:30. Okay, so 3:30 is when it's all said and done. I'm assuming that's when the staging and signatures and all that stuff is done. Whatever took place after postmortem, boom, is happening right there, you know, in those 30 minutes, 15 to 30 minutes. Okay. So now we know around 3:15, Derek German and Dan McCain are out on this bridge. And also, Cheyenne is somewhere, and some friends of hers are also out there. Okay. So after the crime, and we're going to look at a video from Randy Gravitt. He gave me permission a while ago to use this video. It's him basically walking from the north end of the bridge, taking a back trail, and then going directly to the cemetery. And we're gonna take a look at that here in a second. Okay, but if he commits the crime here, you know, it's going to be about 3:30, 3:45 when he's finished signature staging. He's going to start walking back towards the trails. Okay, this direction. But right in this area, he has a clear view of what is going on this bridge and who is at the head of the trails. Now, it's at this point he's going to start seeing people. Okay, 3:45, 4. You know, it's getting late. He's got to get out of there. People are starting to notice. He's seeing people search. That's when I think he turned around and said, you know what, I'm going to head back to the main road and walk back to my vehicle. He's going to take his time. We don't know how good a shape this person is in. You know what I mean? So I think personally, he went back up through the cemetery or near the cemetery, maybe even right here, and got up to this road and just walked back to his vehicle. That's personally what I think happened. Let's watch this sketch video. I think I forgot to show it to you guys. Hold on. Yeah, we need to hear the sketch artist say that it was a witness. Let's watch that real quick. It's kind of an important fact to start basing our exit theories on. Oh, here it is. All right.
And killers police are desperately trying to catch. In fact, we're all familiar with this Delphi sketch from the still unsolved murders of Libby German and Abby Williams. But what goes into creating these drawings? Tonight, our Jenny Runovich takes a look at how a police sketch artist helps witnesses and helps fight crime.
Picture a face from memory. Now, what if you only saw that person for a few moments during a crime? Could you describe them? Provide a portrait that other people recognize. Well, with each pencil stroke, Trooper Taylor Bryant, the sketch artist for Indiana State Police, has to bring those crucial memories from victims and witnesses to life.
You want activity, people calling in, because possibly one of those tips or call-ins can lead to an apprehension.
While most of his time is spent patrolling the highway, Trooper Bryant has done about 70 sketches for police departments across the state, including this high-profile picture we've seen a lot. The man police believe killed Abby and Libby in Delphi.
It was a sketch created from a witness. That's about all I can say.
This face and that witness he's not allowed to talk about since the investigation's still active, but it's a sketch he really hopes leads to an arrest.
Yes, I believe, the whole country, you really would like to see something come of this.
Trooper Bryant started sketching suspects in 2008. State police were looking for a trooper with artistic ability, and Bryant has a degree in commercial art, so he trained for 3 weeks with the FBI.
On how to interview witnesses, how to talk to a witness, how to not ask leading questions of a witness.
And he learned the most important part of the job happens before pencil ever hits paper. This is a 4-hour process that starts with an interview.
Sometimes it's a harrowing experience for the witness, sexual assaults, things of that nature. So you want to get them to more or less trust you to do a drawing.
Then victims go through an FBI catalog, choosing facial features that match the suspects: head shape, eye shape, nose, and hair. With those set, Trooper Bryant finally starts to sketch.
Yeah, so you start with a grid to just give you, placement.
Checking with the witness for accuracy.
It's crazy. What a crazy story. Like, he drew a picture of this guy, he cut his hair, and he still got caught. So what if we're dealing with like a false, like a false witness? Is that possible? I mean, you heard what he said. He was like, "Man, that was my second sketch, and I already got somebody busted." This one work. Um, and here's the full zoom out here. Yeah, you're definitely right about that. It's pretty strange out there. Murder two girls and then bring them back to abduction location. That percentage in a crime like this is coming back is so low. That's what I was thinking. Why would you take them and then come back? Why would you leave them there? I'm thinking this is a crime of panic. You know, I'm thinking that the signatures are a panic. I'm thinking this is planned, but not the murder's not planned. You know what I mean? It was planned to be in a location where nobody else was really going to see what was happening, which, ended up being a perfect scenario uh, for them to perpetrate this type of crime. The same thing kind of fit. So I don't know. What do you guys think about that? I want to hear what you guys have to say. Um, Let me pull up the image of the CPS building again because I think that's where they parked. I mean, that's strategic. I mean, you think about any bank robbery, what they do is they look for strategic locations near the freeway. Okay, the CPS building is the closest place to park that will get you back on the freeway and also keep you from parking from any other near any other, you know, um, hikers. But let's say you panic, okay? You're out here, um, you just thought you could meet the girl. You could tell her, "Hey, look, I'm not this good-looking Anthony Shots guy. Maybe I'm high on drugs or drunk, like Thomas Bruce, where he was able to control 3 people. They didn't do what he said. Boom, he shot him. he was able to command control because he had his what do they call that? His beer goggles on, or his. So if they commit the crime, they panic. They do the signatures and the staging, and they come running back out of here. They could have panicked. Maybe they went the wrong way. Maybe they went completely the wrong direction. What's up, Grizz? Grizz says, CD, they did say catfishing didn't play a part, even though they did earlier in the investigation. Yes. The family said that. People like Ray Hughes said that. It was the consensus at the time, but we all knew better. We could see through the interviews, people sleuthing online. When they would listen to interviews, you could see how badly the girls wanted to get to that trail. You know, they organized multiple rides. The same people that dropped them off were not the same people that were picking them up. So they organized it. You know, it wasn't just like, hey, can you take me here? No. It was like, I need this person to take me, and then I need this other person completely to come pick me up. Like it was very organized what they were trying to do. So it was obvious to us that they had motivation to be there, and it was not images. And that's the irony of that video I made. We were using Kelsey saying, hey, and the Young sketch was made with new technology. And everybody that would argue against anything I ever said would say, hey, well, the family said this, this family said that. So they didn't argue against that. They would try to argue, like, hey, wait a minute, was it DNA that created that sketch? But they didn't know how to argue because I used Kelsey as my fact. Because when they try to argue against me, they would be arguing against what she said. But the truth is, it's not something disrespectful to say. You just can't assume that the family knows all the facts. They do. I guarantee they have more information, and their timeline is much better. I mean, they're boots on the ground. They're right there. But when it comes to all this other stuff, especially people that really look into the case, I mean, there's a good chance that those people might know a little bit more than the family. Very possible. So yeah, I have all these different map. I got the CPS building, the surrounding areas. I didn't really capture the Wilson Bridge area. I'm no longer interested in that. I think it's just too far of a location. But I mainly wanted to talk about Brad Heath. He said he provided information to law enforcement. Was that the vehicle? Was that the information he provided? Or was it the young guy sketch? And if it's the young guy sketch, it couldn't have been near the CPS building, where law enforcement wouldn't consider the young guy sketch absolutely the killer. Now, if Brad Heath was working at the cemetery and right around 3:30, some young guy comes walking out of the woods right near where the bodies were found, yeah, we know now that that is the killer. And if Brad Heath sees him as, the young guy, yeah, that's him. That's the guy. Nobody else is walking out of those woods near the cemetery at 3:30 that is not involved in that crime. I mean, it's very possible, but he's definitely, a witness and most likely the killer, if not one of the killers. We have to assume that. Hmm. Yeah, and it'd be good to know where he was, as a witness. Hey, Mindy. Hmm. Yeah, but with that theory, the only problem with that theory is this. Was him leaving in that direction. is if he was spotted there, law enforcement would not refer to him as the absolute person involved, you know? And let me show you why. And Fig's theory kind of reminds me of one of a panic, the panic theory. I'm going to panic and I'm going to go back the other way, and it's going to take me like an hour to get back to my vehicle because I don't want to be spotted. But then to be spotted right here near the CPS building, if that's a young guy sketch, their law enforcement isn't going to refer to you as the absolute person involved. Somebody popping out right here and getting a good look at you. Not only that, if they're going to say that the young guy sketch is absolutely the guy that they're interested in for this crime, they're going to tie in that vehicle with him, right? They're going to tie those two together. Those are now one and the same because they're both right here in this small location, sometime after the crime, and they're getting ready to leave. So I don't think that's the case. Now, the vehicle is spotted here, and it's a vehicle of interest because it's not really that close to the crime scene, right? Now, if you're spotted somewhere over here, maybe even crossing this field, you know what I mean? Coming out of the woods around 3:30, yeah, you're definitely the killer. That would be one hell of a coincidence for you just to pop out here with some type of bag around your arms or something. So yeah, so in order for Brad Heath to be the witness of the young sketch, it would have to be for the young to be considered the absolute killer. He would need to be popping out of the woods around this area. I don't care what anybody says. He would need to be seen. So either Brad Heath is the witness of the vehicle at the CPS building and not young sketch, and maybe the young sketch was maybe he was spotted somewhere in here. Thanks, Maureen. I appreciate your support. Let's see what Mandy's saying. A car at the CPS building has never made sense to me. Why park there? Why it is sticking out like a sore thumb? I think the reason to park there is actually very, very strategic. Only about this right here. So in order to get to the bridge, you have to take this exit here. Let me zoom in on that. So you have to take this exit right here, and you come down this street. You got to take a right, and you're going to pass basically the public parking area for the trails right here. You're going to say, nope, I don't want any part of that. What's going on down here? And then you're going to drive right past the CPS building. You're going to see it, but you're not going to stop. You're going to drive down here. You're going to see the Mears parking area. You might even stop there and get out. You might even stop there and take a look. And then you're going to go over here to the cemetery, turn around, and you're going to say, look, let's go to the head of the trail. CPS building, nobody else is parked there. And it's the closest way to get to the freeway. You can't park anywhere there. This is the closest spot to the freeway without parking next to multiple people. They're going to be able to look in your car. They're going to be able to see. Now, it's possible that Brad Heath saw both. Maybe he saw somebody in the car and then also noticed the car there at 5. Yeah, it is really a good place to park. Now, let me pull up the CPS building where I zoomed in on it. Not only that, it has a path from the CPS building that leads to the trail system. So that might just be common sense. So you got to remember, this person may not be planning a murder. He may be planning a sexual assault or expecting, somebody that he's catfishing to just, we don't know really what's going on, Maybe he flipped out. Maybe the girls didn't respond the way he wanted. He got enraged. Maybe he was trying to hide something. Maybe he hired somebody to go out there. We just don't know. Right now, we're just trying to figure out what the hell happened. And we got to assume common sense says CPS is where they parked. Digital says if the killers didn't bring props, they could have been grabbed out of the cemetery and couldn't be traced because others purchased them. Non secular could be anything. Could be so many different things. I don't know. It definitely. I don't think that it. I mean, it's possible that Keegan acted alone, and the person on the bridge is in fact just Keegan. Could be somebody that used his information. The only thing that's, Keegan knows something because he was parked on the Country Club Road. He's there during the murders. He's there. He's on his phone and he's scrolling through porn. Now, why is he there? Okay. And why is somebody killing somebody that he was talking to? And why are multiple devices logging in and out of the Snapchat, the Anthony Shot Snapchat, and communicating with Libby? Okay. So, I mean, something's going on with that. He knows what happened. He wouldn't have been on Country Club Road if he didn't play a part in all this. Now, what's the motive? We don't know the motive. Is it to silence these girls? For some reason, I feel drugs, the whole intuition part of me is saying drugs played a bigger role in all of this. Drugs are the key to it all. You don't go out and do something like this unless you're high out of your freaking mind on something, A lot of luck. I think there's a lot of luck involved in this. And then there was another theory. I reached out. Let me pull up an image that was sent to me this morning from the Wild Adventures crew. I reached out to them because I've been watching a lot of their videos. They've been boots on the ground out there. And one thing I noticed was there's a lot of truck or tire tracks, fresh tracks out there. And they've been out there. They've been to the crime across the creek. They've been up towards around Logan's area. They've been back down near the bridge. They've been all through there. Okay. And that's why I reached out to them, and they got back to me just in time for this live here. So they said it's not likely, not even a small 4x4 truck could get really even close to the crime scene. Now, as far as this area here, they were saying there was all kinds of four-wheeler trails through here. And also areas set up for camping and fishing. Because I'm assuming if you're that close to the creek, you're not on private property, I really doubt it. Because the same person that introduced Anthony Shots to Libby was the same person that a week and a few days later was visited by a man in a ski mask. Now, was that person there to try to set up Keegan Klein? Like, hey, the cops aren't picking up on the Anthony shot stuff. Let me go ahead and, um, bring some more attention to it. So after communicating with the young girl, they show up with a ski mask. She sees it. She freaks out. She calls law enforcement. Law enforcement shows up and says, hey, well, what's really going on? The young girl says, well, I was talking to this Anthony Shots guy. And then next thing I know, a guy in a ski mask shows up. And the crazy thing about it is this Anthony Shots guy is the same guy that was talking to Libby before she passed away. And that's how law enforcement was able to find out who this Anthony Shots character was. So they're all tied in. If somebody's trying to set up Keegan Klein, that event has something to do with it. It's either the same person, and I believe on the 20th, the ski mask thing happened, and then on the 21st is when Keegan and his father were in Las Vegas until the 21st, or until the 25th, I'm sorry. So I find that really strange. 20th, ski mask incident, 21st, they're in Vegas. Coincidence? I don't think so. Yeah, they might have had some information, Kathy. You know, maybe they found out who it really was before, who it really was found out that realized that they knew. Maybe they were fooled the entire time, and that's what got them killed. You know, like the catfish even shows up, the creepy guy, and's like, "Oh, what are you guys doing?" They're like, "Oh, well, we're waiting for our boyfriend." And he's like, "Oh, are you?" They have no clue. He has the inside information. Yeah, I'm not saying that there was four-wheelers out there. I was asking that crew, the Wildest Venture crew, if they thought it was possible that a 4x4 small truck could make it out there even near, maybe through some back road just near the crime scene. And they said it wasn't plausible, and they were out there so they would know. Drugs, yeah. Yeah, there's definitely legally an easement. It might even be more than 2 feet there. I think there's a lot of public property there. I did see something with the property lines on it, and I think there's a lot more public property um, on that side. But I know that the private drive, that's definitely not public property, it's private property. That's the Weber property. Not necessarily a local person, but somebody that knows the area. Maybe somebody that scouted the area. You drive by and you're looking around, maybe even scouted it the day before or a few days prior, and you come back and you see the same thing. You feel like, okay, maybe it is safe to park here. And like I said, maybe you're not planning a murder. Maybe you are. Maybe you're enraged. Just the motivation. We just don't know. Digital says, Sleuth, what do you think about Bernston saying audio video was recorded on the phone, Libby, throughout the time? Yeah, he also says, there's stuff going on the left, stuff going on the right. It's like filming a movie. All you see is what's on the camera. So to me, he was saying there's something going on that we don't know. There's information that we don't know that happened on that video. Maybe it's a second person. Maybe it was a dog. Maybe it was who knows? You know, maybe it was another friend. Just don't know what was going on. Oh, thanks, Jen and Kathy. Thanks for the support, guys. I really appreciate that. yeah, when you support this channel, it makes me think that maybe, I'll be able to spend more time out here. I really enjoy this channel. It means a lot to me. And I really like hanging out with you guys. I mean, especially this is, I spend a lot of my time trying to figure out what's going on with this case, even with the petty dramas and things like that going on between creators. Like, I still enjoy their content and just learning not to be involved in all that kind of weird petty stuff. Stick to the game plan. Yeah, some kind of kill kit. I'm thinking maybe a simple disguise jacket that wasn't his. Maybe a bag. I'm not sure. Oh, thank you, Muffin. I appreciate that. Yeah, it's very possible. I mean, the Kleins have all the answers. Why else would Keegan be on his phone, Country Club Road, multiple people logging in and out of the Anthony shots? Thanks, Joe. I appreciate you. So you got Keegan parked on Country Club Road. Basically, in the transcripts, law enforcement states while the crime is happening, he's right there. That guy doesn't ever leave his house, ever. So what is he doing waiting in a car while the murder's taking place with somebody that knows him committed this crime and he knows about it? He wouldn't be in that car waiting if he wasn't involved. I'm sorry. It just wouldn't happen. Thank you, Kathy. Thanks, Cindy. Thanks for being a member as well. I saw that. We're going to jump into some stuff tomorrow. Yeah, Garrett Kurt said he used to drive across that thing. Yeah, and there's all these trails back there as well. Yep. And friend one basically moved away late 2016. And then moves with Keegan to Vegas. And then friend one lies to his mom about where they're going. You leave your kids with somebody and then you lie to that person that you leave your kids with. That's to cover your track. I don't care what anybody says. That looks super suspicious to me. Is it Peru? I thought it was closer to Logansport. I could be wrong. Yeah, somebody else could have done the searches. Setting this guy up. They could have been setting Keegan up. And then after the murders, when they realized nobody was like picking up on it, that's when they were like, hey, we need to go ahead and, we need to bring attention to this. Let's message Libby's friend. We'll show up in the ski mask. They'll check with her and they'll say, oh, look, it's Keegan Klein in his Anthony Shots, profile. Yeah, for sure. In some capacity, Keegan Klein knows who did it. Either he knows for a fact or he was set up and he suspects who it really could be. Or he knows he's facing so much time it really doesn't make a difference because he knows he's not going to live that long. That dude is not healthy. Yeah, and he was having issues in late 2016 with his wife, apparently, and it was all about drugs. And it's funny that she turns into this huge drug addict. Maybe he was too. He's over there, according to Keegan, doing all these hardcore drugs. And in my opinion, I think drugs fueled what happened. I think drugs play a huge part in this. I think that might have been the motivation. When these guys do these drugs, there was somebody that was on a criming shame. I think it was a guy named Michael, and he was a friend, I think, of Kurt's. And he was talking, and he was like, "Yeah, man, those guys were meth heads, big time, and the type of shit they would do, you know." And meth heads, they can get extremely organized to do something completely unorganized. I don't know if that makes sense, but it's a strange thing. No. No. Apparently, a friend of Keegan's does. Yeah, Sunshine, that's it. Yeah, because he was connected to that Wi-Fi. But why? Why was he connected and parked and connected to this Wi-Fi while there was a murder going on? It's a very good question. Was it a coincidence? I don't know. Yeah, his grandparents lived on Paw Paw, and it's not that close. It's in the general area. But the most important thing in the transcript is they say that he's not at his grandparents. He said, "Yeah, you were nearby, but you were parked outside of this home and connected to their Wi-Fi, and it wasn't his grandparents." Why? During the murders, what is he doing and why is he there? Is he waiting for somebody? In my opinion, somebody else is committing the crime. He's waiting for them to finish. They're going to go into that home, clean up, and get back into his vehicle, and he's going to drive him home. All right, guys, we hit that hour mark. I pretty much went over all my points. So if there's anything you guys want to talk about and take a look at these maps, or you have any exit theories, now's the time. Because I can sit here and blab on forever, really. But I don't want to do that to you. It wouldn't be right. Yep, Canal Street. And I think there's much, much more history there than what we know. I think it's going to take some investigative journalism to really crack this open, really get an idea of what was going on there between those two homes. There hasn't been a family environment there at either home. Country Club Road to Ron Logan's not even the same town. 40 minutes away. Over 40 minutes. Yeah, still far from Delphi. Very far. I want to say Peru, Logansport area. I think Keegan may have already cut a deal, or he's cutting a deal, or law enforcement is trying to find more evidence against him so they don't have to provide a deal. Or he's the guy that did it. Nobody helped him. He went and did it on his own, and we're completely off our marker. And he's not making a deal because that means most likely a death sentence for him. But with all of the scheduling changes and things like that, I think he is making a deal. I think law enforcement doesn't want, I think the prosecutors don't want to give him the deal that he wants. So if they can put out this information about the Anthony shots, Instagram, Snapchat, and this yellow or whatever that account is, the new one, which I think is also changed. They want to try to gather information from that so they don't have to make such a good deal. But eventually I think they will. What's up, Frank? CD says, Sleuth, let's also not forget Bart's statement that Tony took him fishing there. He knew the creek. He knew where to cross. It all really is tying together slowly, but getting there. Yep. And you got to remember, he's born and raised out there in that area. He's a hunter. I guarantee, 15, 20 years ago, or even when he was in high school, just out of high school in his early 20s, I guarantee he was hunting back there. And then we got the phone being reset. We got Libby being grounded, apparently. Yeah. There's all this information that we don't know and that maybe certain people aren't really talking about. Yeah, they don't want to. I mean, they will if they have to, but they really don't want to. This dude is a real piece of work. You know what I mean? And I'm wondering if there wasn't other crimes that may have taken place during 2015, 2016. I keep an eye out. Yeah, that's a good one. I need to follow back up on that. I've listened to it twice. I take everything like that with a grain of salt, but yeah, the information definitely ties up to what the transcript was saying. Boston says, it's sad. Kids can't go out for a hike in the woods or trails without running into a TK or any of this stuff. Yeah. I mean, I did a live stream where I put together a bunch of these reports where child predators were just walking up to homes. Like the mother or the father would be standing there talking with somebody, and the child would be 10 feet away from them. And the predator would literally walk up very sneakily and grab the child. And sometimes they got away and sometimes they didn't. But I mean, it was very brazen. Or even in, let's say, like a clothing store or Walmart, you're walking with your child, you turn around and, the child starts walking with somebody else. Before you know it, they're gone. These guys that do this, they're chasing a high. They're so out of their mind on adrenaline. They know that even if it gets hairy, they can just run and get out of there if they have to. It's timing. They get high off of all of that stuff. Yeah, Pam, this isn't going to be a long one. You know, this is just some stuff that I wanted to get off my chest and see what you guys are doing. Um, we've all been watching Fig's theories and stuff like that. You know, it gets the wheels turning. You know, we've been theorizing for the last 3 years. You know, but it's good to get those wheels turning again. Yeah, a lot of movement. Well, what's funny, Six Pack, is during his HLN interview, he basically said that law enforcement told him that it would all go away. So, I mean, when it comes to the biggest homicide that area in Carroll County has ever seen, they're definitely going to make a deal with him. Especially if he can prove he didn't commit the murder and he can hand over the person who did, they will make a deal with him. Especially if the case depends on it. You know, they're gonna search, they're gonna throw out the Anthony Shot stuff. They're gonna do their best to try to find other information, other witnesses, and maybe they have. But if they can't, they're just gonna have to make a deal. Everybody has a right to a speedy trial. Um, you know, exactly, Maureen. You know, right? There's people that go out to check their mail and never come back. You know, I covered some cases because I always try to chase similarities in regards to the Delphi case, just trying to understand or gain some insights. So before I knew about the Anthony Shot stuff, I'd take a look at all these cases. You know, crime of opportunity. Maybe somebody was driving by the Monon trails near the Mears lot and just saw the girls get dropped off and flipped around, just snatched them, you know, or did something crazy. Because there's a lot of cases where guys are just driving by, even coming home from work, and something comes over them. They just see a perfect opportunity, and it's that sickness or that devil inside them. They can't resist. These guys, it's an uncontrollable urge. Yep, Chadwell, perfect example. He was probably high out of his mind, drinking all morning long. Saw the little girl, just couldn't resist. God. Yep, that's right, Frank. Mental illness too plays a large part, in my opinion, as well. And that's not knocking anybody that's suffering, because I think a lot of us do suffer from some type of mental illness. But I think it's just that extra weight combined with certain things that just make it more probable. Yeah, that's right, Sunshine. I don't understand the lack of DNA. Um, Toe goes as far as if they have the killer's DNA. I guess if they have DNA, they don't know if it's the killer's. If it matches, that means that you've been around the girls. but really doesn't make you the killer. Bleach. Heard a lot about bleach. Yep, Stephanie. Drugs, peer pressure, echo chamber. You know, you're just surrounded by pedophiles and killers and drug abusers. I mean, there's nothing that's going to come out of that. You know, you reap what you sow, and the fruit coming out of that is no bueno. But yeah, I think that's going to wrap it up, guys. I mean, I really wasn't planning on doing anything too long. I want to put some stuff together for my members only tomorrow. I'm going to do something early in the morning, I think. I'll see what you guys are feeling like. If you want to follow up on any of this, I think I'm going to start doing something maybe 8 o'clock. That seems to be the money time for me when I can get away and jump online. So everybody that showed up, I appreciate you. Keep putting together content for the people who, like doing some online sleuthing on the Delphi case. Something we're obsessed with, something we're going to do anyway, whether we're doing it together or not. So I hope this was helpful. If not, at least it brought some attention, and we can continue to talk about this until it's solved. Lil Kick, thank you so much. Yeah, the support really means more. I don't know how to accept gifts. I'm not good at it. So I really appreciate the support on this channel. Hopefully I can spend more time here. I really enjoy it. So everybody, thanks for joining. Happy Easter. Go have some fun with your family, friends, or just enjoy your, time alone if that's the case. And we'll see. Maybe we'll talk with the members tomorrow. If not, I'm going to catch you guys on Monday. Take care, guys.
Sleuth.